Hey folks, you've caught me down here in food headquarters at Practical Preppers. We are going to share with you something I looked at years ago. We've had one of these years ago. This is the All-American Sun Oven, and I'm just unboxing it today. I haven't looked at these in quite a while, and there's a couple of reasons I got back in touch with them. And between Paul Munson and Forrest Garvin, I have been talking about getting one, and so they just sent me one to do this YouTube video review on. And so I'm going to pull this thing out of the box, and there's a little bit of setup to do. I probably should have watched a video or two, but you know, we can figure it out, right? I'm an engineer. So this is the, I wonder what kind of, oh, he sent me some goodies, some accessories in here. So I'm going to pull this out of the box. You don't need to read the instructions. So I'll set that down there first. These are some, obviously some racks. Pardon the noise. Oh, there's all sorts of, what did they give me? A leveling rack. Oh yeah, because this thing, no matter what angle you set the sun oven up on, you want this gimbal, like a porch swing for your food to set up on. I think, let's see here. That's kind of interestingly stuck. That's cool. Oh, failure on that one. And some other racks. So, I think there's drying racks for dehydration. I'm hoping, one of the things, you know, we've got a lot of ways to cook food with biomass heaters. That's what we've been doing for preparedness, but the more and more I get into solar energy, the more I've been kind of turned back around. I was like, I want to be able to do everything on solar. So run my house, cool it, cook, pump water, you name it. So I'm back to the sun oven. I'm back to trying the sun oven out again. So just a little unboxing video. I'm gonna put these drying racks aside now. So I know that you can dehydrate with this, you can bake with it, you can steam with it, cook with it. And I also have an interest in getting this overseas to people that do not have enough biomass to cook on, and they have plenty of sun. And so we have some friends in an orphanage in Uganda that we want to get one or two of these to, not just for cooking, but for pasteurizing water, where there's water quality problems. A lot of these, especially younger kids, are very sick from the water quality. So there should be a Wapi. I think it's a, I don't know if Sun Oven calls it a Wapi, but it's a pasteurization indicator using wax, melted wax. When it hits a certain temperature, wax melts, and then you know that the water is safe to drink. So I'm going to set this back up here. I don't know why this won't open the way I thought it would. That's interesting. I'll have to cut on that. All right, so let's look at the Sun Oven. So the sun oven, let's open this up here. Oh, that's pretty neat. I don't know if you can see all that. Let's see what kind of goodies. Oh, they got me all sorts of things. So I know there's a way, a correct way to operate this, so bear with me. And let's see, this opens to, oh, there we go. All right, so we open the door. What did they put in here for me? Parchment paper, directions. Engineers don't need directions. And then until they break something. And let's see what else we have. Nicely packaged. Everything looks good. Thank you guys for sending this. Oh man, I got lots of things in here. Pots and pans. So I'll be right back, and after I open up some of these things. Okay, we have unboxed the sun oven. We have removed the protective film coating on there. You see how much brighter it is now. We're still going to go through the first thing you do is kind of sanitize it with a water and vinegar solution. So we're going to take this outside, but I wanted to share some of the things that came with this kit. A couple different roasting pots, a lot of instructions on dehydrating and cooking, and there's some cool recipes. There's also one of these levelator racks. You can put an 18 to 20 pound turkey in the sun oven. And then there's 3 stackable dehydration racks. They even send the parchment paper. So if you want to do three stacks of sun-dried tomatoes, you can do that. or whatever else you want to dehydrate. So there's recipes, how to use the roasting rack, how to dehydrate, a checklist to make sure you got what you ordered, and directions for how to use the oven. So we're in the beginnings of this. It's been a while. It's been 8 years since I looked at one of these, so we're going to get up to speed. The other thing I want to talk to you about, and I mentioned it, is the Wapi. This is probably the simplest thing, but to me as a water guy, it's the coolest thing. So the Wapi is a water pasteurization indicator. It uses a wax, industrial wax, that once it reaches a certain temperature, it will melt and drip down. So if you have a container of water, you put the Wapi in the container, put the Wapi in the water, and then as the sun oven heats that volume of water, the wax will melt down. And it needs to be there, I think it's, and I check, it's 150 degrees for 6 minutes, I believe. That seems like a long time. Let me refer to instructions. It's been a long time since I used the Wapi. Yeah, 150 degrees for 6 minutes. That means the water is fully pasteurized at that time. Then this can be used hundreds and hundreds of times. You just flip it over and reuse it. So the wax will be up here. So you just start with the wax on the top, let it melt down, and once it melts down, just start your timer, 6 minutes at that temperature, and you'll have water that obviously once it's cooled, you can drink it. So it's kind of like getting a day ahead on your water supply. And one of the orphanages that we're working with, they're always sick. Not always, but occasionally, quite often, too often, the kids are sick. The lady that runs it is sick because their water quality is so bad. So hoping to get one of these to them so that they can cook and that they can pasteurize their water. They have tons of sunshine, very little biomass, very little fuel. So let's take it outside and put it in the sun, see what kind of temperatures we can get going in it. Okay, first time set up here in the yard with the sun oven. And be careful, it's good to have sunglasses. Depending on where you walk, you're going to get blinded. It's super nice mirrored finishes on here. Just set it out here. I can see the temperature's already climbing. We're over 100. I mean, I just set it here. The other thing, if you look around back, you can adjust the tilt angle so you're in the sun and you can see how you're doing there. There's also there's a visual indicator that you're at the right angle, and that's kind of a neat little thing. And I'm going to adjust. You can't see what I'm doing probably. Yeah, so now that's a better angle. These are, see, if you look through this eye, you can see the circle of the sun, and it kind of lines you up so you know that you're getting the most production into the oven. Great seal around the oven. These are really tight, so you have a really nice gasketed seal. And so there's two, so you got one for angle and then one for azimuth. So you can kind of really tell. They're simple indicators. You don't need a compass or anything. So to know that you got the right angle and the right tilt, you have those two holes, and you can see where the sun is lining up with them. On the back, you have this adjustable leg with a foot, and you can also put some tent stakes in if it's a real windy day into that leg. So we got to go through the cleaning sterilization process. We're going to put a little container, half water, half vinegar in there in about 20 minutes. Let it steam up really good, and then we'll wipe all the surfaces down, and then we'll be ready to use the sun oven. The first thing we're probably going to do is to reconstitute some freeze-dried food. So it's not just for cooking, but reconstitution of your stored food. So that's one of the first things we're going to do, and then we're going to do some pasteurization, and then we're going to cook some full meals. We're adjusting the angle. It needs to be right about there, and you can go too far, and so you want to kind of keep the sun that way, and you can adjust it in both directions. Pretty simple indicator somebody came up with. All right, for our first experiment with the sun oven, we're going to reconstitute some freeze-dried food. So I'm going to use the Mountain House seafood chowder, and we've got the ovens at 300, and we're going to put that in there, make an adjustment, and come back in 30 minutes and check on that. So there, we didn't lose hardly any heat. The oven's at 300. We have our pot that came with the sun oven and some Mountain House seafood chowder. Everything's been readjusted. Again, these adjusting holes to let you know that you're in the optimal amount of sun. are great. It's not perfect, but it's really close and good enough for what I'm doing at this point. So just reconstituting some of the seafood chowder, and you can use less water because you're heating the whole oven, you're heating the pot, everything is super hot and no water is escaping. There's the seal on the oven too, so no vapor gets out. So it really helps in reconstituting freeze-dried food. Very simple. We did add a little less water than we would normally use, and so again, we'll practice. This is a great way to take your long-term food storage and reconstitute it, and I think it does a better job than you can do on top of a stove. Okay, our next experiment with the All-American Sun Oven is to pasteurize some water. So, really excited about this. It's just a simple process using what is called a Wapi, a water pasteurization indicator, and that's what's floating in the water right now. This plastic, underneath that plastic, as I'll show you that up close, is the wax. It hasn't melted. I just put it in. The oven's just about at 200 and looks like 225 degrees. So once that wax melts down, it will need to be down there for about 6 minutes, and that means the water, all the microbes, anything that would harm you have been killed. So and then that water's pasteurized. So you could have like 2 of these containers that come with the Sun Oven and switch out batches, and then you could pour that, if you're careful not to contaminate it, into a larger water collection storage container to let it cool off. So this is one of those types of things that you could at least get a day ahead on your water for drinking, brushing your teeth, that kind of thing, so that nobody gets sick in your group or in the, if you're a missionary, and where we're trying to send this to is some friends in Uganda that have an orphanage. So we want to get that to them as a way to, because their water quality is all over the place. So anyway, doing a little test here on the farm, pasteurizing some water using the Sun Oven. Okay, our first batch of pasteurized water. Just touching the container here, you see how the wax is melted and fully gone to the bottom. It's been like 12 minutes, so 6 minutes is all that's required. And so that's our first pasteurized batch of water using the Sun Oven. And so we have reconstituted freeze-dried food with it, which has been awesome. Really, really worked well. Better than the stovetop. We have pasteurized water, and we're going to continue to do some cooking, some baking with it, and just have fun with it.